going to show that to you in this example here. I know I've made a typo, so I'm going to correct that typo here. And then I'm going to add another value here and say the start time of the meeting. And I'm going to change this to a time field. After I've added that additional field and corrected the field name, what I can do is click on the button Refresh Fields. You can see the refresh fields allowed the new field to pop up and the old field name to be updated. And at the same time, we can also map over the start time of our meeting. Once you're done setting up the action, which is very often mapping your fields, you can run a test inside of Zapier. After your test has ran, it's going to say the record was sent to Airtable. You can also see the record ID of the Zap that had just ran, the created time, and some information that Zapier was able to bring over from Calendly into Airtable. Now inside of our Airtable, aside from the 3 records that were already here, or the 3 rows that were already in the base, our 4th row is actually the real data that came in from our Calendly booking. When you're mapping data over into a single select or multi-select field inside of Airtable, unless your options match precisely what the Airtable options are, your data won't come through correctly. For example, if your team member decided to take matters into their own hands, which often happens, and decided to change all of these selection options into different numbers, then your automation will actually partially break. So I'm going to do something that has certainly happened many times before. I'm going to change these values and then we'll run that test once again, and you will see that the single select options are just going to be blank. So I've changed the selection options from 1 to 5 people to 2 to 5 people. And now if I go back to Zapier and I try to run that automation again, I'm going to have a missing field. So I will click on Retest and Review. Oh, and the behavior is actually different than I anticipated. So after I clicked Retest and Review, what happened is Zapier still created the record, but it also added a new selection option called 1 to 5 people. And earlier, we know we changed 1 to 5 people to 2 to 5 people. So make sure when you are building this database for your team, you have to communicate with everybody to not change column names on their own and to also let you know if they're going to change selection options that are inside of the Zapier. One of the things that we'll often do as a company is also to flag which columns are used inside of an automation or which columns are going to be used inside of a Zapier. For example, if all of these fields are part of a Zap, then you can change all of them to have a lightning bolt emoji in front of it, or you can change it to have a gear icon in front of it. It just makes sure that your team knows this is part of an automation and I need to either notify whoever set up this database or just be very cautious when I change something inside of these fields. So this is a very good and visual way of flagging things for your team that they should be very careful about. And this is a really great way of setting up a simple flag for your team so that they're aware these shouldn't be changed very easily. We've definitely run into situations with clients where their automations have been broken or have misfired because they've changed field names or have simply deleted fields. So make sure you're very careful about this. So now that we've set up our Zapier automation and we've run it through a test or two, the next thing I can never stress enough is to make sure you continue testing and don't stop here. What I like to do is always go through this process from start to finish once again. And if your automation is in the middle of another process and there's something else that's been dependent on it, then I would also test whatever happens before and whatever happens right after this process as well. Just so you can make sure that everything is working and very streamlined. So testing from start to finish, or just repeated testing, especially for any kind of edge cases you might be able to anticipate, is the thing that will save you so much more time in the long run. In this case, I'm going to use another email to book a meeting with myself and see how that data comes through. This time I'll book for November 30th. In this second test, I'm using slightly different information just so I can see that the data is indeed different and nothing misfired. You can see that in the email, I've added John's email as cherry+john@airopsconsulting.org. If you have a G Suite account and your email is with Google, then you can by all means use this plus and then some other descriptor. All of those test emails will still go to you. It's still your email that's captured, but you can add a little bit of a descriptor so that it's easier for you to test with. And once again, we know our single selection options have changed, so this will likely create a new single select option as well. And once I'm ready, I'm going to schedule the event. Then I normally head over to my Airtable page and check things there. Then I would go ahead and go to my Zapier page, and inside of each steps of the Zap, I will grab the new record again. This time, when I run the trigger, I'm going to see John's record as well. I'm going to run the test for the action step also. So now I'm pretty happy with how the Zap has turned out. John's record is working, and I can see that even though I'm creating new selection options left, right, and center, that's okay. At some point, the team will need to clean this up, but for now, I do know my Zap is working. And next, I can publish the Zap. Publishing the Zap basically means turning it on. As you're building your Zapier automation, everything is off and it's just in a testing environment. Once it's on, you'll see this top right corner, the toggle is going to be turned green. Finally, since we can never do enough testing, we're going to test this just one more time. This time, I'll make the Zap for November 29th and for 2 p.m. And I'll add another unique test record so that the data comes in properly. After I submitted the test record from Nicole, I know that my Zapier is on now, so I can head over to my Airtable where I'll see a new record for Nicole's test booking come in. You can also name this request ID something unique just for best practices. You can do something like the first and last name plus the date that they booked, or company name or company first and last name and the date that they booked. Whatever suits you. For right now, because I know I don't have too many records, I'll just use the first and last name. And there you go. That's your first Zapier automation. I should also mention at this point, I do feel qualified to teach Zapier because I've been using it ever since I started consulting, and I am a certified Zapier expert. So you are in good hands.
Thanks for investing in your own knowledge base. I'm Cherry Yang, the founder of Claribase. We're going to be releasing our flagship course, Airtable Mastery, for free. In the course, you can find over 100 videos on topics like design, integration, automations, and interfaces. It's perfect for the Airtable champion who wants to build their database right the first time. You can sign up for the course at the link down below.